There are moments in life where things are fine, where things feel amazing. And then there are moments in life where all hope is lost. History is very alike. There have been empires in history that have both risen and fallen. And today, we're going to be going over the top 10 greatest empires of all time. Now, before we get into the video, here's some criteria for this video. Number 1. A country doesn't have to be labeled a quote-unquote empire for it to be in this video. It just has to be a country with, recognizable borders. Number 2. The criteria for ranking these empires is based not only on size and population, but also on influence, impact, how rich the country was, how strong militarily it was, etc., etc. So yes, a country could have a really small land area, but still be extremely powerful and be considered in this video. Number 3, I will not be doing any repeats of any countries. So for example, let's say the first French Empire is in this ranking. Well, that means that the second French Empire can't be in this ranking because the country of France has already been represented. Just to make the video more interesting, or else half of the list would be China and India. And number 4, I will not be including America in this video. Okay, yes, I know they're extremely influential and powerful and rich, but we still haven't witnessed America to its entire glory. Who knows? Tomorrow America could collapse and fall, and people would consider it an empire. Or maybe it'll live for the next 1,000 years as being the strongest country in the world. We don't know yet. So no, America will not be in this video. Also, it's very cliched, come on. Alright, let's get on to the list. Okay, I had to pick between either ancient Egypt, the Persians, or Mr. Alexander the Great's empire. But I ended up picking ancient Egypt for 2 reasons. Okay, maybe it wasn't the strongest civilization ever, but it was the oldest, and on top of that, it was one of the most stable civilizations to ever exist in human history. It lasted a long time. This long. On top of that, ancient Egypt has had an amazing cultural influence across the world. Napoleon himself was inspired by the Egyptian artifacts in ancient Egypt. Clearly, there has been no country like it before. Ancient Egypt was extremely wealthy and extremely pompous. The monuments in ancient Egypt are like none other. I mean, we have the pyramids, the Sphinx, etc., etc. While India has had its great shares of empires, the best one is definitely the Mauryan Empire. In terms of mathematical advancements and scientific advancements, it's pretty high up there on the list. There was also a lot of breakthroughs in medicine during this empire's time period. The Mauryan Empire united all of India for the first time in human history. They were a really efficient empire. They were very organized. Their leader, Ashoka, led the empire to great security. But then, a bunch of weak kings came after him and the empire collapsed. The Ottoman Empire is a pretty cool empire, let's be real here. I mean, look at these fellas' hats. I mean, clearly, they were living a very pompous lifestyle. This is straight up drip, I'm not gonna lie. The Ottomans, not only did they help defeat what was left of the Roman Empire, aka, the Eastern Roman Empire, aka Byzantium, aka the Byzantine Empire, but they also took control of one of the most important cities in the world, Jerusalem, and held it for a long time. Yes, the Ottoman Empire spanned a couple of centuries. Unfortunately though, during World War I, they were finally defeated, and the Ottoman Empire ceased to exist. Okay, I know I'm going against, the third rule that I created, but okay. I couldn't pick between the first, second, and third Reich, as they all had their own, key features that made them powerful from each other. The First Reich lasted a long time, and was composed of many different states that held key importance in Europe, especially during medieval times. The Second Reich was a colonial one and held countries in Africa. Also, they were a powerful industrial machine that literally nearly won World War I while having shit allies. I mean, they literally defeated Russia in the winter. Like how? And yes, I can't, go over this without talking about the No-No Reich, aka Nazi Germany, aka the Third Reich. Nazi Germany has probably been the most impactful country over the last 100 years. World War II was the most brutal war in human history, and they were the main dogs in this war. Their fierce blitzkrieg tactics were very scary and frightened the whole world, as it felt like maybe the whole world was going to be speaking German in 10 years. They did lose though, but it took a lot of will and manpower to defeat them. So yeah, I don't know, I couldn't pick between any of these three. I don't know. You decide which one you like more, I guess. At number 6, I have the Soviet Union. Now, I had to pick between either the Soviet Union or the Russian Empire. And while majority of people would say the Russian Empire, I will actually say that the Soviet Union was overall stronger. Let me explain. The Soviet Union had a lot more control over their people and their areas. They ruled with an iron fist. While it did have a shorter rule, it definitely was a more menacing one, as it imposed fear in countries across the world. The Soviet Union played a key part in defeating Nazi Germany during World War II, which is why it gets a higher ranking than Nazi Germany and the other Reichs. But I think the main point that makes the Soviet Union so great is that it is the country that has had the most nuclear warheads in history, which puts it a level above the others. The Soviet Union and the Russian Empire are also the third and fourth biggest countries to ever exist. It had a big population, and yeah, compared to other countries in Europe, it was pretty powerful. Only America stood in its way. Both the French and the British empires wouldn't be what they were without the help of the Spanish. The Spanish Empire was so massive and so important that it literally created an entire new classification of people, aka Hispanics. Spanish is the second most spoken language in the world. The Spanish defeated a lot of native tribes and did some questionable things to them. They also procreated a lot with the native tribes, which is why South America and Latin America in general has so many people. The Spanish, alongside the Portuguese, were the first major global empires. But I think the Spanish are, more remembered for what they did, and also they had a bigger chunk of Latin America. So yeah, that's why they're here at number 5. But yeah, amazing empire. Speed, strength, spine-tingling. The 3 S's of the Mongol Empire. Never has there ever been an empire that in so short little time has arisen from the ashes and has completely taken over an entire continent by itself. The Mongol Empire is something that's never been seen before. It was the longest continual land empire to ever exist and the second biggest empire in human history. The Mongols were a fierce tribe of warriors that burned and pillaged cities. It is estimated that Genghis Khan killed upwards of over 40 million people. Quite the savage. The Mongols were insane. They took over parts of China, parts of Russia. They were even close to penetrating the mainland of Europe. The Mongols were unstoppable. But it was their unstoppable force in nature that caused them to collapse, as they expanded too quickly. China. The country that has probably been the world's superpower the most amount of separate times. Yes, China has been a superpower throughout many parts of history, but probably their strongest dynasty was the Tang Dynasty. While it wasn't the biggest version of China we've ever seen, it was definitely the greatest. At the time, Chang'an was the most populous city in the world. China consisted of a population of 50 million back then. 80 million by the end of the Tang dynasty. Silk Road trade was at an amazing high during this dynasty, and possibly the greatest Chinese emperor by the name of Taizong ruled over China during this time period. The culture, food, and stability that this Chinese empire brought is unlike no other. The sun never sets on the British Empire, the biggest empire of all time. And honestly speaking, it has to some extent been possibly the most influential from a linguistic standpoint, as a big chunk of the people in the world speak English. America wouldn't have existed without the British Empire. Where I come from, Canada wouldn't have existed without the British Empire. The British Empire spread through 6 continents, and it controlled a huge list of countries, which I'm not going to get into because I'd be here all day. But the main important ones were Canada, India, Australia, South Africa, Egypt, and many more. And yeah, obviously America too, I guess, but that was kind of, earlier on. The British Empire was key in defeating Germany in World War I and in World War II. They truly were one of the most powerful empires in human history. Alright, and before we get to number 1, I might as well go over the honorable mentions. Honorable mentions include Neo-Babylonia, America, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, the Austrian Empire, the Second French Empire, the Byzantine Empire, the Incas, the Russian Empire, every other powerful dynasty of either China or India, the Persian Empire, which I'd probably put at number 11th, Alexander the Great's Empire, or the Macedonian Empire, the Greek Empire, which I'd probably put at number 12, Napoleonic France, which I'd probably put at number 13, the Portuguese Empire, which I'd probably put at number 14, and then at number 15 I'd either put the Dutch, the Japanese, or any of the caliphates. I don't know, I might actually put the caliphates a bit higher. I don't know, I have to think this shit through, to be honest, and I'm just trying to get this video over with. Alright, and without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get on to our number 1 pick. And the number 1 greatest empire of all time is the Roman Empire. Possibly, no, not possibly, definitely the greatest empire of all time. There is no empire like it. Its influence has been monumental. A lot of our laws in the world are based off of the Roman Empire. Latin, a very crucial language. French, Italian, Spanish, and Portuguese all came from Latin. Same with Romanian. The Roman Empire has influenced many powerful empires throughout its history, including America, Nazi Germany, Napoleonic France, etc., etc. What started out as a simple republic later became a whole-ass empire. The reason the Romans were so amazing is the fact that they never gave up no matter what. They would always march into battle with a mentality of let's kick their asses. They lasted for 1,000 years, and you could even argue they lasted for 2,000 if you include the Byzantine Empire. They were home to some of the most important and famous people in the world. A2, Brute, Ultimum Capitulum. And yeah, that's the list. Honestly, I had a lot of fun making this list, as I really love history. It was not easy to pick which empires were the best. There have been a lot of great empires throughout history. Let me know down in the comments which empire is your favorite. My personal favorite would probably have to be Napoleonic France, as Napoleon was possibly the greatest military general of all time, and one of the most interesting and controversial people ever. Alright, au revoir, motherfuckers.